Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk and walk you through completely different topics altogether, right? Which you might not have seen, or maybe there are different scenarios and different situations why this is needed, right? Now, this is something for all those or for those regulated industries, basically for finance, insurance, healthcare, and banking as well, right? And this is specifically for all the different countries, all the different geolocations, right? Now, it is not only specific to maybe US or India or any other location, right? So this is going to be across global or across globe in short, right? To understand, and those industries are fully regulated, right? Because of the data compliance, security, and all other stuff, right? And that is why this is the topic that I'm going to talk about, right? And to make you understand whether this is really needed, how it is being implemented, and what is it, right? Now, many companies or many organizations do rely on different systems, including cloud platforms, including on-premises, hybrid, and public clouds, right? And they do also have their own in-house products, right? Including banking software solutions for the customers, for in-house banking, for other brokers or other partners, including vendors and including other people who are actually in business with those regulated industries like banking, right? So bank is not completely doing the business on their own. Instead, they do have a lot of partners, a lot of vendors, and they do also rely on different companies, right? So all of that capabilities should also be built with the regulated industry requirements, right? And that is why everything is being developed from scratch with the code or with the appropriate regulated industry follow-ups, right? So now you must have seen and experienced, and you are also be aware about the DevSecOps, right? So DevSecOps is a practice of evolving from the day one with writing code for the different application systems and everything together, right? It is not limited to cloud or on-premises or specific area. Instead, it is going to be, and it is being used and leveraged across the multi-systems or across the different platforms altogether, right? So the same practice goes with this capability, which I'm talking about, or which I'm going to decode, is DevSecRegOps, right? Which is DevOps, right? And then reg is going to be the regulatory regulation, and then ops, right? So this is going to be something same as DevSecOps, but here we are building and bringing regulations from the day one while developing the solution from the day one itself. So there is no excuse, or there shouldn't be any such flaws, even if you are building any solution, and that has to be built regulation in mind, right? Every time that there shouldn't be any excuses, there shouldn't be any situations where organization or the business has to fall for that, and that is going to be kind of lack of intelligence or lack of doing the business appropriately. Because if company or the business itself is not following the regulations, that means they do have to pay hefty fees and hefty tax and everything altogether, right? So let me share my screen, and I'm going to walk you through this whole presentation, which is going to make you understand this better this way, and what is it, how it is going to be used, and what are the things there. All right. So what is DevSecRegOps, right? You can simply understand by this way: development, security, regulatory, and operations, which is combined together across four different vectors or four different segments, you can call it at. So what is DevSecRegOps, right? Which is straightforward, okay? Which is a evaluation, and you can say the next version of DevSecOps, which is embedding the regulatory compliance within the same, right? Which is integrating security along with laws and compliance into DevOps lifecycle from the day one, from the coding itself, which is going to be ensuring code is secure, compliant, auditable, and automated, right? So everything is going to be pretty straightforward and pretty uh, easy as well, right? So which is also going to make sure the systems and business and everything is secure, which is also compliant and auditable, even if the business has to showcase, because any business who is doing something into the regulated environments or regulated countries, that means they do have to follow a different laws, right? They do have to follow compliance requirements, and if they are not, then probably they are falling behind, and they would have to, or they are going to pay hefty fees and everything together, right? How DevSecRegOps works actually, right? So you can see there are different phases, from code phase, then build and test and deploy and run and monitor, right? So these are the coding or the building product or the solution that is being used or built into the cloud, or it could be any scenario, right? It could be on-premises cloud or public or hybrid, and it could be on a community cloud as well, right? Now, the developers who are going to write a code that should be compliant and security checks with built in, right? There shouldn't be any flaws, anything that is going to break the compliance and laws for that respective geography or location and the regulation as well. The build and test is going to be automated scannings for security and compliance and all other security capabilities. And deploying is going to be simply infra as a code with enforced compliance policies, right, across the cloud platform or across the organization, which is going to be simply following that practices, they are going to be compliant. And the run and monitor, which is going to be, of course, continuous monitoring and compliance reporting for the whole organization as well as for the business to continue and sustain, right? So these are the pretty straightforward steps, or you can see the phases. Those takes appropriate and enough time for them itself to build and take the next steps, right? And that is why we should do this, and this is how it is going to be built ahead as well. The benefits of it, definitely there are benefits available, or benefits are there, including SIP-left compliance, which is early checks from the day one, so that we really don't fall for it, which is going to, of course, reduce the risk and fines, as I said, from the different laws and compliance and regulatory uh, organizations for that respective geolocations. Faster innovation with automated compliances, right? Which is going to help business to stay ahead and meet the requirements. Cost saving and fixing issues early, so that we don't really end up add and pay additional fines and taxes, right? Always audit ready and builds customer trust. So now you might say, where do we really need DevSecRegOps, right? How it is going to be used or built, right? We do see some of the benefits, how it actually works, what is it, but definitely where it is going to use and what are those organizations or industries and what are those solutions, right? So I'm going to talk a bit of that, right? So you can see, when do we need DevSecRegOps, right? It is starting from the regulated industries, as I said, including finance, healthcare, and in even in the government sectors as well, which is, of course, rapidly scaling with the global reach, frequently audits and inspections that happens always across these industries, multi-cloud and hybrid environments, which is also going to be uh, applicable and eligible to use and make sure those are also compliant. Need to maintain continuous compliance for those industries, so that they can also rely on the service providers wherever they are going to build solutions and use it for the business and for the global as well, right? Why do we need DevSecRegOps, right? Now, the traditional method of this is DevOps, right? Which ignores laws and regulations, which really doesn't have all these capabilities which are there into the regulations and laws, right? Now, when we put security into it, which becomes a DevSecOps, which is not enough for sensitive data in this case, right? But the regulators and regulatory industries are stricter than DevOps and DevSecOps together, right? Which is more than that, and which expects more than the security and DevOps practices, right? which is going to, of course, prevent $1 million fines and reputational losses if there are any for those solution providers and builders, including finances, healthcare, banking, and all of those providers, right? And that is why DevSecRegOps is going to be the one which is going to be needed there too, right? And in fact of this or DevSecRegOps, if we are not implementing it or not implemented, right? You can see start from legal risk, which is going to heavy fines for different frameworks, including GDPR, HIPAA, HITRUST, or any other, right? If we are not complying as a business or as an organization, definitely those are going to be risky for the businesses or business itself. Security risk, including higher chances of breaches, operational delays, which is going to be manual audits, which is going to slow down the process of the business overall, and a reputation damage, which is going to, of course, a loss of customer trust, so that there is no repeated business or there is no business at all at the one point, right? And then financial losses as well, including penalties and breach recovery costs and everything together. So overall, you can see there are number of impacts. Those are going to be bringing the whole system and the business down at the one point when we are not taking appropriate steps, appropriate decisions in this way, right? Because this is something for those industries which are highly regulated and they have to be compliant and be following the laws together. In simple, straightforward, and Gen Z analogy, right? This is something great to know and understand, and make sure you understand it better way, right? So starting from DevOps, which is simply posting quickly on Instagram. So what does this mean is that whatever you find, for example, you found an image or a photo that you clicked somewhere and you found that very interesting and you wanted to post it simply onto the Instagram. You would simply post it without doing any other checks. But into the DevOps or DevSecOps, you would check for all the trolls and spam before posting it, right? So you would try to understand, what if I do post it? Would there be a spamming, or would there be a situation to troll or something like that, right? So all those checks would happen there too. And into the DevSecRegOps, which is going to be something stricter than DevSecOps, right? Which is ensuring your post does not break laws, community rules before posting it, right? So, though there are different laws and regulations and requirements, even if you post anything onto the different platforms. So, to understand better, these are a few of the examples, or I would say the analogies I put together to understand it better way, right? And there is a simply workflow you can see starting from code till the end, right? Which is using CI/CD with the compliance gates, right? So let's say code is the first step where you or people or the developer who are going to write a code, then it's going to move to the next stage where build and testing will happen. And at the same time, it is also going to be going through security and compliance scans, right? Then it is going to move to the deploy, which is, of course, using infrastructure as a code and different policies to be deployed and make sure it is applicable, it is expected, and it is not breaking any laws and regulations. And then run and monitor, which is going to continue security monitoring and compliance as well, right? So this is pretty straightforward workflow that DevSecRegOps is going to follow. And this is going to be pretty simple as well, because definitely each organization is going to be implementing different patterns, or maybe they are going to implement and develop different things into the product altogether, right? So definitely they would also follow the same thing. So yep, that is what I wanted to talk and walk you through and make you understand what is DevSecRegOps, how it works, why do we need it, what is it actually, right? How does it been it really been implemented, if and what happens if we are not implementing into the highly regulated industries and environments, right? So yep, that is what I wanted to show and walk you through. And hope you like it. Hope you learned something new. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, any doubts, and anything. and I would be happy to answer all those questions, right? So, yep, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.